Let me ask you something slightly uncomfortable. Why is it that you can promise yourself a new life starting tomorrow, and then tomorrow shows up like, nah bro, let's just survive? Seriously, we've all had that dramatic mirror moment where we stare at our reflection like we're in some superhero origin story. And then 5 hours later, we're lying in bed, scrolling memes, eating snacks we bought for guests. Here's the plot twist. Self-transformation isn't this dramatic movie montage you imagine. It's more like negotiating with a stubborn roommate who happens to be your own brain. If you're watching this, I'm going to guess something wildly accurate. You've tried to change your life more times than you've tried to fix your Wi-Fi by turning the router off and on again. You know that version of you imagine at 2 a.m., the productive, focused, emotionally stable, drinks water like a professional athlete version? Yeah, you've met them many times in your head. But in real life, you wake up the next morning like, who was that person? Because it definitely wasn't me. You want to be consistent. You want to stop procrastinating that one task that takes 5 minutes but mentally drains you like it's a tax audit. You want to wake up earlier, think clearer, have better habits, take care of your health, improve your mindset, all of that. And the funny part? You know you have potential, not in a vague motivational poster way, but genuinely. There are days when you surprise yourself, days when you work hard, focus deeply, or make one small decision that makes you think, wow, maybe I am capable. But then life happens. Your discipline vanishes. Your schedule falls apart. And suddenly you're back in the familiar loop. Trying hard, feeling motivated, losing momentum, getting annoyed at yourself, telling yourself you'll start again tomorrow. And honestly, you're tired of disappointing yourself. Not dramatically, just tired of feeling like you could be doing better, but something invisible keeps pulling you back to the same habits. You're not lazy. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're just stuck in a psychological tug-of-war you never learned how to win. And you're here now because you want something different, not more pressure, not unrealistic routines, but actual understanding. You want to know why your brain behaves the way it does and how to finally work with it instead of constantly fighting it. And guess what? You're exactly where you need to be. Let's talk about the funniest, most predictable mistake almost everyone makes when trying to transform their life. And yes, you've definitely done it too. It's called the overachiever explosion. This is when you suddenly decide, out of nowhere, that you're going to change everything in a single day. You wake up like, new life unlocked. Let's go. And then you create a plan so unrealistic it should come with a warning label. You know the one. Wake up at 5 a.m. Meditate for 30 minutes. Run 5 miles. Read 50 pages. Cook a healthy meal. Start a business. Learn a new language. Organize your entire room. And be in bed by 10 p.m. sipping herbal tea like a calm monk who has conquered all earthly desires. It's adorable, honestly, but your brain is not impressed. Your brain is looking at you like, relax, missionary. You struggled to drink water yesterday, and now you want to reorganize your entire personality. This all or nothing strategy feels powerful at the start. It gives you a big burst of motivation. But motivation is temporary. Motivation is like a cheap phone battery. Looks full in the morning, dead by noon. The second common mistake? People think motivation is discipline. Huge difference. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. Motivation is loud and dramatic. Discipline is quiet and boring. But everyone tries to build routines based on the loud one. No wonder they collapse the moment your energy drops, which, let's be honest, is usually by Wednesday. Then there's the classic, let me reorganize my entire life instead of doing the thing. You redesign your to-do list. You pick new colors for your habit tracker. You watch videos about how to stop procrastinating while actively procrastinating. You buy a notebook, a planner, a calendar, a pen with rise and grind written on it because maybe the pen will fix your life. Spoiler, it won't. All these mistakes come down to one big misunderstanding. People try to change behavior without changing psychology. They try to change actions without changing identity. They try to build habits on top of the same mindset that created the old ones. And when the mind isn't aligned, the habits collapse like a Jenga tower on a windy day. But don't worry, this is fixable. And once you understand the psychology behind transformation, everything starts to click. Here's the truth most people never say out loud. We don't want transformation just to be productive or have better habits. Those are surface-level goals. What we really want, underneath all the routines, planners, and motivational quotes, is a feeling. Every goal you chase is actually pointing toward an emotional destination. We want discipline because we want control. We want fitness because we want confidence. We want money because we want freedom. We want new habits because we want self-respect. We want to stop procrastinating because we want peace. Think about it. When you imagine a better version of yourself, you're not imagining tasks. You're imagining feelings. You picture yourself calmer, stronger, more capable, more respected, more in charge of your life. That's the real reason you want transformation. Not for the routines, not for the aesthetics, but for the emotional upgrade that comes with becoming someone you're proud of. Once you understand that, everything changes. The core insight. Self-transformation isn't about forcing yourself to become a new person. It's about teaching your brain a new identity, slowly, consistently, and in a language your nervous system actually understands. Let me explain, because this part is important. Most people treat transformation like installing a software update. You hit download, wait a bit, and boom, new system, new features, new life. But your brain is not an iPhone. Your brain is more like an old PC from your childhood that overheats when you open too many tabs. It doesn't update instantly. It adapts. And adaptation happens through identity, not effort. The identity mechanism. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. That belief, your identity, is the real engine behind your habits. If you believe you're someone who always messes up, your brain works hard to keep you consistent with that identity. Not because you're flawed, but because the brain hates contradiction. The brain loves familiarity, even if familiarity sucks. That's why people who call themselves lazy, unfocused, or undisciplined end up acting that way. They've accidentally created a personal brand their brain is loyal to. Humans crave identity consistency more than success. That's the psychological twist. We don't do what is best for us. We do what is most consistent with how we see ourselves. If your identity says, I'm someone who tries but never sticks with things, then the moment you start improving, your brain feels like, whoa, calm down, this isn't who we are. And it quietly nudges you back to your old patterns. That nudge is what you feel as procrastination, excuses, low energy, or sudden disinterest. It's not sabotage. It's familiarity. Your brain is not blocking you. It's protecting you. Your brain's job is not to make you successful. Its job is to keep you alive. And from a survival perspective, familiar equals safe. Unfamiliar equals threat. So when you try to change your life dramatically, guess what? Your brain treats it like you're walking into a jungle with no map. That's why big, sudden transformation plans fail. They trigger your threat response, not your growth response. You think you're improving yourself. Your brain thinks you're risking the tribe's safety. Because back in the caveman days, changing your lifestyle overnight probably meant you wandered off from the group, got lost, and ended up being lunch for a bear. So yes, your brain is dramatic, but it's predictable, and we can work with that. The real principle, micro-identity shifts. Self-transformation only works when you upgrade identity in tiny, believable steps. Micro shifts your brain doesn't resist. Forget, new year, new me. Forget, I will change everything starting tomorrow. Instead, think, who is 1% better than me? And what do they do today? Not the perfect version, just the next version. Because here's the psychology. Your brain doesn't fight small changes. It barely notices them. If you go from drinking 0 water to 10 glasses a day, your brain panics. But if you go from 0 to 1 glass, it shrugs. If you try to meditate 30 minutes a day, your brain screams. Try 2 minutes? Brain goes, okay, whatever. If you try to wake up at 5 a.m., it feels like war. But waking up 10 minutes earlier? Totally fine. When your brain doesn't detect a threat, it allows transformation. This is why tiny habits work. Not because they're cute or simple, but because they bypass your brain's fear alarm. The habit loop you never learned in school. There are 3 psychological phases every transformation must go through. 1. The identity spark. This is the moment you decide, I want to be the type of person who not I will do, but I will be. Once identity shifts, even slightly, your brain starts aligning automatically. 2. The action anchor. Your identity needs proof. Small, daily evidence. Tiny actions that reinforce. Yes, this is who I am now. Read one page. Do one push-up. Clean one corner of your room. Work for 5 minutes. Small, boring, unimpressive, but powerful. Because the brain sees the consistency and starts updating its internal identity model. 3. The feedback loop. Once the brain accepts a new identity, it begins craving behaviors that match it. This is when transformation feels easy, natural, automatic, not because you got motivated, but because your identity and actions finally match. Why willpower is overrated. Everyone thinks transformation is about trying harder. But willpower is like an unreliable friend. Great when they show up, but you never know when they'll disappear. Identity, however, is stable. That's why habits built on willpower collapse. But habits built on identity stick, even when you don't feel motivated. If you are someone who reads, you don't need motivation to read. If you are someone who exercises, you don't negotiate with yourself to exercise. If you are someone who stays organized, you naturally avoid clutter. Identity drives behavior faster than discipline. The brain hack that changes everything. Here's the psychological cheat code. Act like the next version of you, not the final version. Your current self and your ideal self are too far apart. The gap triggers resistance. But your current self and your slightly better self? Totally doable. Think of transformation like leveling up in a video game. You don't jump from level 3 to level 50 in one night. You go from 3, 4, 5, 6, each level giving you new abilities, new confidence, new momentum. Life works the same way. Small identity upgrades, repeated, accumulated, become transformation. You don't wake up transformed. You grow into it. Principle summary, friend-to-friend tone. Self-transformation is not about pressure. It's about alignment. It's not about trying to be a better person through force. It's about becoming someone new through small, believable actions. It's not about changing everything at once. It's about changing who you are in small, repeatable ways. When identity shifts, even a little, habits follow with half the effort. Because when your brain finally believes, I'm the kind of person who does this, your body, your environment, and your decisions naturally fall in line. Identity first. Action second. Transformation third. That's the psychology behind real, lasting change. All right, let me paint you a scene that might feel a little too familiar. Don't worry, this is a judgment-free zone mostly. Imagine this. It's Monday morning. You wake up with that rare burst of chaos-driven motivation. The kind that whispers, "New week, new me. Let's go." You leap out of bed like you're the main character in a productivity commercial. You grab a notebook and start writing your master plan for total life transformation. Step 1. Wake up at 5 a.m. Step 2. Drink 2 liters of water. Step 3. Read 40 pages. Step 4. Meditate for 30 minutes. Step 5. Learn a new skill. Step 6. Become a billionaire. Totally normal, achievable stuff. You're feeling unstoppable. Fast forward 3 hours. You're on YouTube watching a guy explain how ants build colonies, and somehow this has turned into a documentary about space whales. Your water bottle is somewhere on the floor. Your book is being used as a coaster. Your new skill has been downgraded to maybe tomorrow. And that 5 a.m. wake-up plan? Let's just say you'll try again next week. Now here's the twist. In your mind, nothing went wrong. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just human. But the old version of you, the version you're trying to leave behind, starts whispering nonsense like, "See? You can't stick to anything. You always fail." So now you're frustrated. Not because the plan was bad, but because you try to transform your life using pressure, not psychology. Here's the interesting part. Around 4 p.m., after recovering from your existential crisis, you suddenly get a second wave of motivation. Totally random, totally unplanned, and you decide to clean your room. No dramatic music needed. You just do it. No self-hate. Number 15-step routine. No be the best version of yourself speech. Just action. Why? Because micro-identity alignment kicked in. You briefly became someone who does things now, instead of someone who plans to do things later. This little scene? This is the entire psychology of self-transformation in disguise. You don't change when you force it. You change when your brain feels safe, capable, and slightly curious. And most transformation starts in those tiny, quiet, unplanned moments. Usually not at 5 a.m. with a color-coded planner. All right, Let's turn all this brain science and emotional chaos into something you can actually use today without needing a 47-step morning routine or a personality transplant. Step 1. Pick one identity shift, just one. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire life, choose one small identity upgrade. Not, I will be productive, but I'm the kind of person who does things in 5-minute bursts. Or, I'm someone who finishes small tasks right away. Identity is the steering wheel. Skills follow later. Step 2. Create a micro-win ritual. Your brain trusts what it sees you do. So give it proof. Tiny, repeatable proof. Something so easy it's almost embarrassing. Wipe your desk. Drink one sip of water. Read one page. The goal isn't the task. It's the pattern. I say I'll do something, and I do it. Step 3. Remove one friction point. You don't need to optimize your life. Just make it slightly less annoying. If you want to read, keep the book on your pillow. If you want to exercise, put your shoes by the door. If you want to journal, leave the journal open on your desk. Friction kills transformation faster than laziness. Step 4. Build a 2-minute identity anchor. Every morning or evening, whichever vibe you prefer, pause for 2 minutes and ask, what would the version of me I'm becoming do right now? No pressure, no guilt, just curiosity. Let the answer nudge your next action. Step 5. Celebrate the micro shift. Not with champagne, just acknowledgement. Tell yourself, that's exactly what someone improving their life would do. Your brain loves stories. Tell it one where you're the hero in progress. And that's it. No extreme habits. No perfect discipline. No magical morning routines. Just tiny identity-led steps that quietly transform your brain from the inside out. Here's a simple but powerful trick I like to call the 10% upgrade rule. Think of it as giving your identity a gentle, non-threatening nudge instead of screaming. Change everything now. Instead of aiming for the perfect, fully upgraded version of yourself, focus on just 10% improvement in one area each week. Ask yourself, what would a version of me that's 10% better do today? Not 100% better. Not perfect. Just slightly better. Your brain doesn't panic. It doesn't resist. It whispers, okay, we can handle this. Now here's how to lock it in. Whenever you catch yourself slipping into old habits, say silently, that's the old me. Today, we're doing 10% better. This instantly reframes your mind. Old patterns become optional, not mandatory. Small wins accumulate, momentum builds, and before you know it, your brain is naturally aligned with the new identity. Tiny upgrades, identity shifts, real transformation. It's so simple, you might laugh, but it works like magic because it hacks your brain's love for safe, achievable change. All right, let's wrap this up like a cozy chat with a friend who actually gets it. Here's the biggest takeaway. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not failing. Your brain is just, well, dramatic. It's loyal to the identity you've built so far, and it needs proof before it lets you level up. Self-transformation isn't about forcing yourself into impossible routines or relying on fleeting motivation. It's about small, believable identity shifts, micro wins, and letting your brain adjust naturally. Tiny steps, tiny wins, tiny upgrades. Over time, they add up to a complete transformation. So don't stress about perfection. Focus on 10% better, one action at a time. Celebrate small victories. Edit your identity story gently. Curiosity over pressure. Consistency over heroics. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more simple, practical ways to upgrade your mindset, productivity, and life habits, hit that subscribe button. Not because you should, but because the version of you that's quietly improving will thank you later. Remember, you're already inside your transformation. Just keep taking tiny steps.